Hello, it's Brendan Wissinger again, and today we're going to talk about industry and how to decarbonize industry, how to expand industry to the levels needed for economic mobilization required for a Green New Deal, and yeah. So first, for our how to decarbonize industry. So we need to For industrial heat, we need to use carbon capture and sequestration, electrification, and hydrogen. So today's industries burn fossil fuels for heating input, materials, boilers, other stuff. I promise you, I do not have COVID-19. I am just sneezing. I have allergies. Oops. So, so we need to get to net zero. So that either requires we move to hydrogen, we electrify them, or put carbon capture on them. Some of these can't be easily carbon captured, or some of these can't be put on electrification or hydrogen because they burn too hot, they're too expensive, or some of those. So I also include doing carbon capture sequestration. Some industrial activities can be electrified, which eliminates energy and related emissions on site. On-site fuel burning is replaced with zero carbon electricity. Other processes are difficult or expensive to electrify due to the requirements for high heat or chemical reactants such as virgin steel from iron ore. Making virgin steel from iron ore. So then hydrogen is recommended. Hydrogen can be produced from zero carbon electricity and used by industry as a thermal fuel and reactant in difficult to electrify processes. Carbon capture and sequestration can be used in areas that are not where hydrogen costs too much or doesn't get hot enough. I recommend retrofitting natural gas and oil pipelines for the task of transporting emissions to a central location where they can be moved to pumping stations to be pumped underground in a well-regulated, safe manner that is not prone to leaks. So then we also have to make materials more efficient, manufacture materials more efficient. We have to make them last longer and able to be reused. For example, concrete and steel. So we need to use smart design and precise use of our materials to have better and improved designs so that we have better, equal or better services while using less material, or equal or better products without requiring less material. This can allow them not to be replaced as often, then subsequently not as much emissions used. They can replace fluorinated gases. Fluorinated gases are sort of like CFCs and HFCs. They put holes in the ozone layer, and they're also holes in the ozone layer, and they're so fluorinated gases put holes in the ozone layer and they're greenhouse gases. So they're sometimes used as refrigerants, propellants, electrical insulators, but we can replace them with more climate-friendly alternatives. So one way to do this is to ratify the Quigley Amendment, amendment on the Montreal Protocol that bans fluorinated gases. The amendment has strong bipartisan support. And then methane capture and destruction, which I talk more about this than fossil fuels. Addition on dealing with fossil fuels. Methane is the main component of natural gas, and is 28 times more. Has 28 more times of heat trapping capacity than CO2 per molecule over 100 years. So we need to control leaks from pipelines and equipment, of natural gas pipelines equipment. Which are rampant. So that was responsible for 31% of U.S. methane emissions in 2015. And coal mining was responsible for another 9%. So we need the better monitoring, and we need repair and retrofitting of natural gas systems and destroy methane leaking from coal mines. We also need to phase out coal mining by 2030. We need a cap and dividend program that will help some emissions from industry. Actually, it'll help with pretty much emissions from pretty much every sector. Industrial energy efficient investments to reduce emissions and fuel expenditures, typically with short payback periods. There remains a great deal of untapped potential for efficiency improvements through new technologies and increased adoption of best practices in existing technologies. Designing systems for efficiency rather than simply buying efficient individual components is a crucial strategy. This can also help us, like one of the areas that we can't so easily fix the energy issues, we can do that. Or the industrial heating issues. It can allow us to still get as close to net zero as possible. It can help us use less energy, so the cost will be lower of using industrial heating, these hydrogen and electricity, and carbon capture and sequestration. And then other industry sectors include reducing the share of highly emitted materials, uses cement, and improved worker training. So regulations. So every corporation must lead climate action and adaptation plans that follow current emission targets and must be held to them. Though for industry, they can be waived by the Federal Industry Climate Regulation Commission, which would be under the Federal Climate Change Commission. Setting regulations requiring cogeneration and the recovery of waste heat before use to work. And what I mean by that is when something is produced or when something is heated, heat escapes. When capturing that heat is escaping and reusing it. Reducing cement clinker to 60% and substituting for fly ash. I don't know if that probably is a recommended regulation, including like another one recommended regulations, improved system design. So that would help out. Top runner industrial efficiency and carbon intensity standards, industrial energy efficiency standards for different industries, directing federal agencies to implement new standards for carbon intensity of domestic manufacturing processes and equipment, motors, fans, air compressors, boilers, while encouraging production of and sale of super efficient equipment, appliances, electronics. This way we can double the business as usual rates of energy efficient improvement across cement, chemicals, iron and steel, and natural gas and petroleum industries using current industry trends and technologies. Requiring the coal and natural gas burning is replaced. We need to phase out coal and natural gas. Requirements in we need to phase out requirements in material efficiency and longevity, stricter methane regulations, and requiring methane destruction. For stricter methane regulations, and requiring stricter than Obama era regulations and requiring methane destruction. Establishing a 4-year industrial review that can be conducted by the U.S. Department of Congress, working with the Department of Energy and the Department of Defense to map strategic industries and identify sound industrial policies, including with critical materials and rare earth elements, global demand, domestic production capacities to support sustained American competitiveness and industrial growth that will support a safe climate. Federal Buy Clean program, immediately launching a federal Buy Clean program that incorporates emissions intensity standards for procurement and decisions for energy-intensive materials used in a federally funded infrastructure, including cement, steel, concrete, glass, iron, wool, mineral wool, and other products. This will increase efficiency and switch to less carbon intensive sources. Building the Buy Clean program upon the program implemented statewide in California. Establishing additional incentives for corporate buyers to match the federal government's Buy Clean commitment. Cracking down on super pollutants. Taking immediate executive action to phase out HFCs in accordance with the Kigali amendments to the Montreal Protocol, found in appliances such as refrigerators, heat pumps, air conditioning systems, and some aerosols. Safer alternatives are available. Because American manufacturing industries have already invested $1 billion in manufacturing technologies that slash HFCs, this will give domestic and manufacturers a competitive advantage, one that has been an estimated support 30,000 American jobs and increase exports by 5%. So as I said, making stricter methane regulations and stopping methane leaks in natural gas pipelines and equipment, and on oil and in coal mining operations. And to incentivize removal or repurposing of net gas distribution pipelines to buildings. So supporting the development of biogas, methane capture and utilization technology, and wastewater treatment, livestock operation, landfills, which can be used in specific applications that cannot be easily or cost-effectively electrified, provide on-site power, and provide value for farmers and local governments. So building a biogas methane methane capture and utilization system, wastewater treatment, from getting that biogas from wastewater treatment, livestock operations, landfills, and repurposing it to use it for energy in different ways. So, clean energy exports and global green development, focusing attention on the federal international trade and finance agencies such as the Export-Import Bank, overseas private investment corporation, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and the Foreign Cultural Service to accelerate American clean energy and sustainable product exports, and seesaw support for new fossil fuel energy projects. Working with the global development investment institutions such as the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and other multilateral development banks to develop clean energy, clean water, and sustainable infrastructure in developing nations around the world. This will reinstituting bilateral programs for enhanced clean energy development and deployment with strategic partners such as India, including the Partnership to Advance Clean Energy programs. Ensuring America's trading policies support and do not undermine global transition towards clean energy, and endeavor to close the carbon loophole and promote continuous climate pollution reductions across nations. This could include potential enforcement of trade policies against certain imports from nations that are not committed to typical restraints on their climate pollution. If needed, use the Defense Production Act to gear U.S. industry in producing enough equipment needed to solve the climate crisis. And Trump should be using the Defense Production Act to get enough ventilators, masks, and everything for coronavirus. So, for funding, renewable energy manufacturing loan to help create factories to build renewable energy products like solar panels, wind turbines, and stuff like that. A rural manufacturing program, which will help fund manufacturing in rural Rust Belt, Coal Belt regions. It will not fund fossil fuel industry. Yeah. Advanced Technology Manufacturing Program. This program will encourage manufacturing across the United States. Manufacturers of renewable energy projects, electric vehicles, and the sustainability products will get first priority, but it will help create more manufacturing across the United States. Advanced Clean Energy Loan or Grant. This is one of the biggest things. It's in here. It's $25 billion per year. This helps fund industry, especially cement, iron, steel, and plastics, to be cleaner in the context of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Systems that will be covered by this include carbon capture, electric arc furnaces, hydrogen, and other stuff like that. So another industrial efficiency grant loan, carbon capture and sequestration grant that will help pay for carbon sequestration for industrial heating and that sort of thing. The industrial efficiency grant loan will help improve industrial efficiency. Advanced Clean Manufacturing Loan helps manufacturers pay by updating their equipment to be clean and climate friendly. Electric vehicle manufacturing loan to help construct manufacturing facilities for electric vehicles. A federal lithium and cobalt sourcing program to give to U.S. mining companies practicing sustainable practices and cobalt and lithium mining, and then nonprofits to make sure lithium is sustainably and equitably mined without anti-illegal mining practices, which involve children and human rights abuses. Creating redevelopment corridors in Rust Belt, rural, and coal belt areas. Recycling and processing manufacturing facility loan and grant. This creates more manufacturing facilities across the United States. Right now, most of anything gets manufactured. It goes to gets recycled. It goes to Asia, which is not a very, and there's so much of it going to Asia that Asia's saying no more trash. We don't want any more trash. We have enough trash. So we need to build this stuff out ourselves. Cement industrial sequestration, carbon sequestration loan and grant. So that's another thing to help cement industry will include carbon in their cement, which make it stronger, sequester their emissions, and that sort of thing. Carbon capture sequestration pipeline retrofit fund, which helps retrofit pipelines to be for carbon capture sequestration and create new carbon capture and sequestration pipelines. So also there's establishing a new uncapped advanced energy manufacturing credit to incentivize investment and growth in domestic manufacturing and capacity for rapidly expanding clean energy industries such as wind turbines and batteries. Facilities that use hydrogen electric or CS hydrogen or electric or carbon capture sequestration for industrial heat will get a tax credit. Industrial waste recovery tax credit. It's also industrial waste heat recovery is one of the things covered in the advanced clean industry loan or grant. Expanding federal support, technical assistance, and skills training programs for businesses, states, and local governments, including the U.S. Department of Commerce's Manufacturing Extension Service, advanced manufacturing partnerships, and related efforts. And then electric vehicle manufacturing tax credit. And that covers the sector, and that will hopefully bring manufacturing into a new area, create more jobs, and decarbonize industry. Well, thank you for listening to me ramble on about this, and see you next time. See ya.